Hello, everyone, friends, family, readers, watchers, listeners to Southeast Iowa Union Prep Sports Plus for January 15th, 2025. I got my best friend in the entire world and my second best friend in the entire world with me, Hunter Muller and Peter Camp. Hunter, how's it going?
Good, man. Feeling good. Ready for some Kansas City Chief playoff football here next Saturday at 4:30 Eastern.
Yeah. A little. You got the early game since you're playing the Texans.
Yeah, it's the first game on Saturday.
They should let that be later with the Chiefs. Anyway, we just had like 30 minutes of NFL talk off camera, so I'm trying to get my brain back into it. And you know what really helps my brain? They say brain food, brain candy. You know where to get the best food that kind of just like settles your brain down?
I think I have an idea. Why don't you hit me with it?
Fairway food stores. I'm telling you what.
Yes,
I think
sir.
it might just be when I go into Fairway food stores, the relaxation that I get from being in there. I could be walking out with a Lunchable, and that thing's gonna hit right. So maybe get some Fairway meats a little later. I had some warm food, honestly. Yeah, I've been into Lunchables lately because I made the mistake, and don't do this when your son gets a little older, Hunter. But I bought one of the pizza Lunchables that have one of them you could sprinkle M&Ms on, like little tiny M&Ms.
Yeah.
Stupid idea, because then your child just wants that for the rest of their life. Every single time you ask them what they want for lunch, M&M pizza.
You're like, you can't be eating that.
Can't be. We're gonna eat up some high school sports. Oh, I'm wearing my Showtime sweatshirt. I was gonna say, what time is it? It's showtime. Ooh. Shout out Patrick Kane, come back to the Blackhawks. We're talking.
Hey, I saw the Blackhawks. Not to get off subject, but I saw the Blackhawks lowest team affiliate the other day in facing the Heartlanders up in Iowa City on Sunday.
Who won?
The Heartlanders, man, 4-1.
Wow, big one. I had to go watch them. I love going to watch them.
What were they? The Indy Fury, I believe. They got the little Blackhawk logo on them.
Fury, yes. Yeah, I need to go watch some hockey. We know what? Football's going away soon. We've had high school basketball to kind of keep us going, but the NBA almost doesn't exist.
Cheap for tickets up there, and it's pretty fun to watch, not gonna lie.
The first hockey game I ever went to, I went with a mixed group from my youth group, my church youth group when I was in high school, about half guys, half girls, and we went to watch an Iowa Stars game. And whatever team they were playing, they had played the night before, and it must have gotten chippy the night before, and they dropped the puck. The beginning of the game, they dropped the puck. The second the puck hit the ice, every single player dropped their gloves and started brawling.
What?
And I mean, everyone went crazy. And like, I remember that the girls that were there, most of the girls that were, just didn't even know what to expect with hockey. Like, we're just sitting there stunned watching a huge fight take place right in front of them.
I watched the guy get his tooth knocked out within the first 2 minutes of the game. It's pretty crazy.
Wow, that's tough.
And I think a guy broke his nose too because he was gushing after getting hit with the stick.
Oh, really? I have.
Pretty wild.
I have weak teeth anyway, so if I played hockey, it would be like I don't know, like someone would do like the good luck tap with their glove. They'd be like, "Hey, good luck out there," and then my tooth would come flying out.
You need full on dentures, huh? After playing a game.
Yeah. That's right. I need to go to a dental place, Washington Delta Dental.
There you go.
We both watched a little high school basketball, and I was on hand, Hunter, for the war on Highway 34. I'll tell you what, when Fairfield and Mount Pleasant get together, Highway 34, it's like whatever. Never mind. I was gonna. Never mind. You know what I was gonna do there? Just in all, I was gonna jokingly compare it to a real war, and then I thought, you know what? That's not a good idea. I'm going down a path where I could get in trouble with my jokes. Yeah. But it was just a basketball game. But 2 basketball games, girls and boys. First time the Panthers and Trojans are playing this year. Girls, I'll talk about the girls game first, Hunter. we have seed Mount Pleasant and Fairfield both struggle in SEC girls play. The other 4 teams just happen to be kind of, at a peak, at a pretty high point right now. Mount Pleasant and Fairfield, both young, both struggling to get wins in conference, but they're playing against each other. Something's got to give. Here we go. Last year, Mount Pleasant beat Fairfield on 2 buzzer beaters, so it went right down to the stinking wire. This year, first game was not that kind of game. Mount Pleasant 50, Fairfield 30. Panthers with by far their strongest output of the season conference-wise anyway. It was 8-5 after 1 quarter, and then the second quarter started. Mount Pleasant just had a gear that they shifted into that never slowed down. Fairfield could not hit a shot. I think they missed 49 shots on the day. It wasn't like they were just turning the ball over left and right. They just couldn't hit anything. And Mount Pleasant, they had second chances, they had fast break points. They were rolling. It was a good night for the Panther girls. 50 to 30 final in on that. Alexa Fuller, 14 points to lead the way. One of the best, 14 points and 10 rebounds. Actually, she had a double-double. Make sure to read the paper. She's a golden quote from Alexa Fuller. I asked her, because she's improved on her offensive moves. I said, you must have worked on that in the offseason. She earned the player interview afterwards. And to read the story, she said something along the lines of, yeah, I didn't want to suck too much this year, so I wanted to get, she said, I wanted to do something that would kind of improve me or something like that. Great quote, threw it in there. So it's in the story, along with reflections from both coaches on that one. Fuller, 14 and 10. Abby Carthy, who's freshly back. You saw her in her first game against New London. 13 points. Kinley White, 11 for the Panthers, so 3 double-digit scores. On the other side now, Fairfield scores 30 points, Hunter. Faith Jones went for 19 of those. It was like nothing was working for Fairfield, and then Faith was unstoppable. Just kept scoring. Couldn't keep up with the Panthers, but there was nobody else that even scored over 3 points for Fairfield. It was all Faith Jones. And then just a quick look in, and we'll talk about Van Buren a little later because you saw them recently, but Fairfield lost to Van Buren 50-41 on Monday, and Jones went for 13, so she's went for 32 points in the last 2 games, both losses. By the way, Callie Kratt and Sophia Urach, 18 and 14 for Van Buren in that one. So that was the girls' game between the Trojans and Panthers. Boys' game. Now, to set the scene for the boys, Mount Pleasant, winless in conference, have had plenty of close chances, haven't been able to pull one out. Fairfield comes in looking for a 3-2 first half of the season, looking for a way to get in, maybe even tied into first place if everything worked out for them. Panthers were up double digits in this thing in the first quarter. All Mount Pleasant to begin. Looked exactly like the way the girls' game. It looked like, maybe this should be a Mount Pleasant day. Fairfield comes storming back. Eli Zillman, 3 dunks basically in a row. Read the newspaper, got a picture of one of those dunks. He was flying. That sparked the Trojans. Fairfield ended up leading 34-31. Mount Pleasant came back, led 53-52, and Mount Pleasant led with 2 minutes to go. Fairfield hits Luke Consul hits a 3-pointer. Said it was like his 5th 3 all year, but he nails a 3 from the wing to put Fairfield up 2. They got a steal. Consul puts up a layup, so scores 5 quick points. And the Trojans never gave up one more point to Mount Pleasant. Ended the game on a 9-0 run to win this thing 71-63. Trojans had a remarkably even scoring output, 5 in double digits. Consul with 16, Riley Perkins with 15. We had Drew Myers with 15, Eli Zillman with 14, and Bisgard ends up with 11. I was trying to, my little scribbles on how I never write their full names out. I just put like 3 letters, and I was trying to get everybody's name in there on my little notes. And for Mount Pleasant went, I believe, 11 of 21 from 3-point land. Ian Reed and Aiden Hubble went 21 points apiece. Both of them hit 5 threes. Drew Myers also hit 5 threes in this one. And then Noah Lang from Mount Pleasant scores 12 to give the Panthers 3 double-digit scores. So I thought that was a really well-played game from both teams, honestly. Weren't a lot of mistakes. A ton of highlights. especially those dunks, and just it was crazy how nobody was missing a three. But what happens with that? And you'll talk about Washington, but Fairfield jumps in to a tie with Washington and Keokuk and Fort Madison for first place, and Burlington. 5-way tie for first place after the first half of the SEC season. So you saw one of the reasons for that, because you saw the Washington Burlington games. So tell me how those went, and then we'll give you the standings after one half.
Yeah, jumping into the girls game last Friday, Washington traveled over to Burlington. Washington girls, I mean, they've lost. We'll get to last night's game I was at in Washington, but I'm heading into this one. They lost 3 straight. Made it 4 after this one in Burlington, 49-36. They fall. The Demons have been playing good defense. In their losses, it's usually one quarter of scoring that kind of makes the difference, and we kind of saw that against Burlington on Friday. They ended up falling, as I said, 49-36 in the conference head-to-head. Demons were right there at the end of the first quarter. Kendall Hendrickson hit a 3 late in that one, in that frame to make it 13-12, and with just 12 seconds to go, and Washington was down to Burlington 14-12, so just 2 there by the end of that quarter. But things went pretty array in the next two periods, second and third. The Demons held Burlington to just 11 points in the second, but what kind of did them in there was they failed to score a single point themselves in the second quarter. Burlington's lead was just 25-12 at the half. So game still much in reach, for Washington, but the shooting struggles kind of continued into the third there. Washington connected on just 1 field goal between that second quarter and in the third, and that was a lay-in from Madeline Long with just 30 seconds into that into the third period there. So kind of from that point on into the half, Washington, I guess, during that span that they hit the 1 field goal, Washington didn't score for over 4 minutes, and that Burlington lead kind of eclipsed to 36-14. And then in the final 3 minutes, the Demons scored 5 points, all coming from the foul line. So I mentioned that 1 field goal they have, just haven't been able to find kind of their stroke from the field. So heading into the fourth, Washington trailed 39-19. They gave it all they had in the fourth. They cut it all the way down to 11 following a too late from Oakley Saboski. That was just with just over 2 minutes to go, but time was not on their side in that one, and they ended up outscoring Burlington 17-10 in that fourth quarter, but just wasn't quite enough to overcome that deficit that kind of culminated between the second and third, where they were struggling to put the ball in the bucket there. But Madeline Long with 17 points, 15 of which all came in the second half. Washington, after this one, falls to 2-3 in SEC play, and you were just talking about the conference standings, 3-9 on the season, not putting in last night's victory, but we'll get to that. But if you want to, as you mentioned with the standings, Fairfield right there now with Washington and the conference action on the girls' side there.
Yeah. So boys conference standing. We said all 5 teams besides Mount Pleasant are at 3-2. That's Keokuk, Fort Mass, Washington, Fairfield, Burlington. Just up for grabs completely. Mount Pleasant 0-5 in the conference, and then the girls, it's a 3-way tie between the 3 non-union teams, 4-1, 4-1, 4-1 for Keokuk, Burlington, and Fort Madison. Washington is still in it at 2-3. They're 2 games back. They basically have to maybe win out to finish it off, but 2 games back, they got space to get in there, and then Mount Pleasant would really have to win out. They're 1-4. Fairfield is 0-5. So on the girls' side, it's our non-teams. It's Lee and Des Moines County right now controlling the girls' side. Yeah,
and then just jumping into the should I jump into the girls' game last night, or should I go boys against Burlington on Friday?
Go girls' game last night. We were just talking about the Washington girls. They played. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, they were playing an 8-1 Centerville team.
Actually, 2 nights ago, by the way. Oh, it's actually 3 nights ago because they're watching this tomorrow.
It was Monday. Yeah, that's true. This game was on Monday night against Centerville. Centerville 8-1. So I mean, playing good ball. And I mentioned Washington's defense, and they found some offensive rhythm in this one, but the defense was really what shined. Ended up winning this one 45-35, getting that win there, ending a 4-game slide for the Demons. Centerville opened the scoring, took a 2-0 lead early, but once Washington got a 5-2 lead off a 3 from freshman Reagan Miller, the Demons would never let the Big Reds get back on top. As I mentioned, shined early. Washington gave up just 4 points to the Big Reds through almost 7 minutes in that first quarter. And really, that was kind of the narrative for the game. Oakley Saboski followed with a 3-ball to give Washington a 10-4 lead with just 1:30 to go in that first quarter there. Centerville was able to cut it to 4, but Adeline Long gets an and 1 with 1.4 seconds left on the clock to make it 12-6 heading into the second. Really, the story of the night, Centerville has a really good post player. Her name's Adriana Howard. She's like 6'1", and she's pretty skilled down low. I think she's averaging about 17 points, 14 rebounds a game. She did finish with 17 points, but what I like to call it was a quiet 17, and they didn't really let anybody else beat them. They gave up just 1 field goal to her in the first quarter there. Head coach Shannon Rudd talked about it. They just wanted to not let her get the ball. They had Adeline Long playing pretty much tight knit on her all night. She did a fantastic job of doing that. But
she's a two-way player. She guards the star. She did that against Fort Madison too with Davis. She hangs with the star and then controls a lot of the offense too.
Yeah. Coming out of that second quarter, Centerville did give them a little pushback. Big Red scored 5 unanswered to cut it down to 1 at 12-11, but that's as close as they would come the rest of the way. We saw a little bit of a scoring struggle in the start of the second quarter there. Took 4 minutes for Washington to find his first bucket, but another 3 from Miller gave the Demons a little bit of cushion, 15-11 there. Miller had a big night for the freshman. Obviously, Nathan Miller, both his daughters play, and Reagan's the youngest for him. We always are chit-chatting with him, but she had a team high 14 points. She scored the first 5 points of the quarter for Washington, and that all came in the final 4 minutes. As I mentioned, the scoring struggle was early on in that quarter. But aside from that quick start for Centerville, the Demons only gave up 1 more field goal the rest of that period, and that came on a buzzer beater by Howard, who kind of just did a turnaround jumper, just kind of threw it up there and it went in. That was their only field goal the rest of the way from that early start. Second half, Washington came out, quickly built their biggest lead of the night to that point. 30 seconds in, to the third, Adeline Long buries a 3, followed by Kendall Henderson laying to put them up 25-14. Demons kept it around a 10-point advantage for the majority of that frame. Right around to the 3-minute mark, Centerville rattled off an 8-0 run, cut it all the way down to 4, 31-27. However, Reagan Miller with another 3 propels the Demons to a 5-0 run at the end of the frame. Heading into the fourth, Washington leads 36-29. Continued to hold them off late in that one. Back-to-back buckets by Centerville had the game down to 7 at 40-33. But Washington gives up just 2 more points the rest of the night. So a big win for Washington to kind of get back in the win column. A nice little game, finding some offense, not letting those droughts kind of carry on as much as we've seen the last couple of weeks in the defense. Shannon, Coach Rugg talked about they've been playing good defense, have been in some close games, and just haven't been able to get on kind of the winning side of that with those. But Miller finishes with 14 for the Demons. Adeline Long with 9. Sarah Burdo added 7. Addison Miller 7 points as well. Oakley Saboski 4. Kendall Henderson and Lauren Henderson each score 2. So Washington 4-9 overall, and huge game against Keokuk on Friday, and I believe that was just a 12-point loss for Washington last time against a pretty solid Keokuk team that's right up there at the top of the standings too. It's got to feel good for Washington to get back in the win column and that little slide that they were on. Kind of get a feel of some offense going there while their defense has kind of been keeping them in it.
Yeah. By the way, I watched a little bit of that because that game started at 6. My game at Van Buren County started 7:30, so I watched about 30 to 40 minutes on the Southeast Iowa Live, which has a lot of coverage this year. I don't know what the wrestling meet might be the next live stream for Southeast Iowa Live, but I know we'll have Mount Pleasant, Washington at the end of the year. So watch out for more on that. You're watching Southeast Iowa Live right now, literally.
Yep. Yes, you
right
are.
How'd the boys do in Burlington? Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, let's jump into the boys real quick here. Washington in action in Burlington. The boys obviously following the girls. Washington. They've had kind of have an up and down Southeast Conference season thus far. Obviously, big comeback win against Keokuk, and I know they fall to Fort Madison. Pick up wins against Fairfield and stuff in that regard. But we're kind of used to seeing them come back in big games, and that was kind of what it felt like was going to happen on Friday night in Burlington. They got down, started to come back, and Burlington just edged them 59-54 in this one. So comeback falls short for the Demons in this one. Really tight out of the gate. Logan McDowell went 4 for 4 from the line early on, gave the Demons a 4-0 lead early. Offensive struggled, and soon you got to give Burlington credit. Well coached defensively, obviously. Caleb Bakey, you're really familiar with from his Mount Pleasant days. The Demons didn't score for over 3 minutes until Seth Shepard scored with 3:09 there in that first quarter. So, but Washington kind of stayed poised. Defensively they fought. Burlington built just a 6-4 lead through that span. So, they didn't really take advantage of Washington not scoring, but Burlington tied the game with an and one, and from then on out, they wouldn't trail the rest of the period. Greyhounds went up 11-8. Another Seth Shepard bucket cut it to 11-10, and that's how first quarter would end. In the second, Washington tied the game at 12-12 after Connor Layden found Cale Williams for an easy lay-in off the break. Demons stayed right in it, but could really never grab the lead. Washington trailed by 1 on 3 separate occasions in that quarter, 17-16, 19-18, and 21-21. But then Burlington follows with its largest lead of the game. He scored 6 unanswered to make it 27-20. 2 from Drew Conrad with 22 seconds set up the halftime. What would be the halftime score, 27-20. But Burlington leads at the half there. And then, coming out of the half, that 5-point halftime lead for the Greyhounds only grew in the third quarter. Burlington went up by as much as 18 in the third quarter before the game settled at 49-33 heading into the fourth. Washington was outscored in the third, 20-11. And, as I mentioned, saw Washington come back, the biggest comeback meeting against Keokuk, obviously. A team we said that would be right at their top of the standings. Well, Demons didn't deter. And this one, been in a funk from shooting. They all of a sudden erupted in the fourth quarter. Ended up outscoring Burlington 21-10 in the 8-minute frame there. Conrad, McDowell, Rajon Roth, and Nick Stone each drilled a 3 to pull the Demons within a possession late, 57-54, with 36.3 seconds. That settled an 11-2 run for the Demons, biggest run of the night and kind of biggest scoring spurt of the night for them. Demons got the ball with a chance to tie with just 30 ticks left, but a steal and a turnover for Washington leads to an easy bucket for Burlington, and that was pretty much all she wrote for the Demons there with that score and with the time that was left. So they ended up falling in that one, as I said, 59-54. Conrad leads Washington with 13 points, Shepard with 12, Nick Stone with 11. Washington drops its third straight after that one. Moves to 3-2 in Southeast Conference action. As you said, it's kind of a really tight race, pretty much up in the air thus far, as we've seen for the past couple of years, and 5-6 overall in the season. So tough loss for the Demons. Would have gave them a nice advantage in the standings, but as we've seen and kind of as we expected, it's going to be another tight race for the title.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, it's going to be a crazy race. Besides, Mount Pleasant, of course, is the youngest, least experienced team of the six. Is the only one that really can't just win. That isn't in the thick of things. They would have to literally win on like a 6-way tie. So they're out of it. But the rest of the teams, you never know what's going to happen. This weekend there are games, so we're starting the second half of the schedule. Mount Pleasant is in Burlington. All of 3 of our teams are on the road. What's up, schedule makers? Washington is at Keokuk, and Fairfield is at Fort Madison. So we'll see how that. Remember Fairfield Fort Madison, that Fairfield Fort Madison game from the first game of the SEC season was weird technical free throws, all sorts of craziness. So we'll see how that works out. And you'll see how we work out when we get back, because Hunter and I are both going to take the CrossFit Challenge here live on. But we're actually just going to talk about more basketball, a little small school, a little wrestling and bowling, and we'll be back. So stick with us.
Introducing Hy-Vee Market Grill, where every meal is a delight. Start your day with our mouthwatering breakfast options and savor flavorful lunches with friends and family. Cap off your day with our delectable dinners. Hy-Vee Market Grill, where every moment is delicious.
The Connie and Amanda team is dedicated to giving back to our community by actively engaging with our clients, businesses, and the public. When it comes to helping you find your next home, investment, or commercial space, the Connie and Amanda team is here for you.
Washington County Hospital and Clinics, providing quality health care that puts you first. Whether during a hospital stay, seeing a primary care provider for wellness exams or sick visits, minor surgery to a total joint replacement, or recovering from an injury, we're here when you need us.
More than you expect for your health care. Washington County Hospital and Clinics.
Hello, everyone. Hello, friends. Welcome to the B block of Southeast Iowa Union Prep Sports Plus. Remember we changed the name of the show and I used to keep saying it wrong?
Yeah, I probably still say it wrong if you ask me.
But our fans, they stuck with us. They said these guys are going to get it right. And guess what? When was the last time one of us called it whatever it used to be called?
I don't know.
It's been a while. We're going to talk a little small school basketball. Hunter and I have been driving. We've been dying out there. Every single night we're on it this week. January gets a little busy. We won't be here anywhere tonight, Wednesday. But Hunter, you were at a familiar place, the house that Hunter Moeller built, where you once hit a shot to send the game into overtime against Holy Trinity.
And Andy was there to witness.
I was. It was one of my first games ever covering for the newspaper. Van Buren and New London are 2 South Division teams. We used to have 4 South Division teams of this paper. We got 2, and they battled last night. How'd it go?
Yeah, really back and forth game. Kind of look. I won't get into too much. Let people read into it, but basically, Van Buren kind of looked like they were going to run away with it in the first half, and late in the second. New London started to find an offensive rhythm. This is the boys' game, I guess I should say. Look like Van Buren looks like they're gonna run away with it. New London starts to find kind of a spark late in the second half, and particularly through the third, cut it all the way down to single digits, and that's kind of the way it ended. Van Buren County had to hold off the Tigers on their home court. 67-61, Van Buren County gets a win. So New London's still searching for their first win. That's Van Buren County's 4th win of the season. So
Look at that.
Nice little battle on the boys' side there.
Yes.
On the girls' side, Van Buren County gets the win 45-24 over the Tigers. Obviously, New London kind of in a just trying to get better each and every week. A lot of new girls. Well, couple familiar girls, but also a lot of girls that haven't played on the varsity level that are coming to the starting lineup this season. They're still searching for their first win as well. But played well early on. Van Buren County led the Tigers just 8-6 after one quarter. They did extend that to 2011, outscored New London 12-5 in the second. Both, third quarter, neck and neck in quarter scoring, 9 each by both squads. But Van Buren County ends with its best, ends with its highest point totals of the night, while holding New London to their least. Outscored the Tigers 16-4 in the final period there. Sophia Girock led the Warriors with 18 points, 8 rebounds. For New London, Miley Miller scores 10. So Van Buren County, big Southeast Iowa Super Conference win for them there.
And of course, as I said, I saw Van Buren County in a wild one with Fairfield the night before the girl. It was only a girls' game, so Yurok had a big game in that one as well. I was at Pekin High School for Pekin versus Waco, and in the North Division, Hunter, you never know what's going to happen, and sometimes what happens is the exact opposite as the last time they played. So a double revenge night we'll start with the Waco girls first over Pekin. Pekin had been playing really well. Both teams honestly were coming into this game kind of on a roll. But when it came down to it, it was all Waco. 55-31, a game that I thought was going to be right down to the wire. 55-31 Warriors used the press, used their speed, and really had Van Buren County off balance. Brenna Graber and Ella Housingay combined for 30 points. Those two have been on stinking fire. Graber had 19, Housingay had 11. A lot of that was just steals and layups and stuff like that. And they sped the game up so much that Pekin couldn't quite. When Pekin gets into the half court, they might be the best half court team in the conference in the North Division. Anna Hadley did end up with 14 points. Renee Eubanks had 7, but Panthers fall on their home floor to the Warriors, and then the boys' game, little revenge the other side. And this thing, Waco comes into this undefeated in the conference. They've had some close games. Waco was shorthanded. Clayton Miller has been hurt. They had a couple guys go down during the game, but the second the ball was tipped, Pekin, it was like they were on catnip or something. Panthers, I didn't even do that on purpose. Just going crazy, hitting shots, getting steals, playing defense. The Panthers led 18-4 after the first quarter. Again, 18-4 after the first quarter, led by 21 at halftime, led 42-25 after 3 quarters, a 17-point lead for Pekin after 3 quarters. Waco comes all the way back to cut it to 4 points with the ball, 45 seconds left. Finally, Waco was starting to hit shots. Their guard play was playing like it has been. And Pekin escapes 52-44, a huge win for Pekin. I didn't know this stat until they told it to me. Head coach John Swanson's first win over Waco. Pekin had not beaten Waco in 9 years. Part of that was they were not in the same division for a little while. Waco went to the south, but surprising there. Nolan Glick, 16 points for the Panthers. Will Adam, 14. Casey Davis, 11 points, and 10 of those were in the first half. He had a couple threes and a putback right before halftime. He was like the player of the first half where it's like, this kid is on fire. For Waco, Christian Stacy scores 18. Him and Isaac Rich both got to a really slow start. They combined for 8 in the first half. That's a rarity. Rich ends up with 9, Egley with 9. So Waco kids eventually got their points, their guards did, but big win for the Pekin Panthers. And you go through these scores from last night, and I'll jump into a little standings. How about?
Yeah. You want the girls or boys first?
Ladies first.
Gotcha. Okay. We're just going to go through it. As I mentioned, Van Buren County downs New London 45-24. Running through it. Columbus continues to show out in the north, and it's getting a little more interesting too with Waco coming on strong here late in the second season. But Columbus downs Hillcrest Academy 46-33. Highland thrashes Cedar Valley Christian 53-4. Waco downs Pekin, as you mentioned, 55-31. Lone Tree 74-35 over Winfield-Mount Union. And getting outside of the Southeast Iowa Super Conference, number 3 Regina Catholic defeats Mid Prairie 59-49. And then Clark Community beats Cardinal 54-33. And I need to find Keota because I'm almost positive they played, and I don't think I pulled it up here.
South Iowa Cedar League East. What were we doing, girls?
Let me jump in here. I'm going to pull it up in like 2 seconds.
Ooh,
South Iowa Cedar East League.
Oh, I know. Okay. I have it. I remember. I forgot they were playing North Mahaska last night. It's not a pretty one.
North Mahaska is ranked inside the top 10. I know that.
You want me to give you the score?
Hold on. I'm going to have it in 3-2. Keota falls to number 2 North Mahaska 66-26.
Yeah, North Mahaska is strong.
Yeah,
I forgot that's who they were playing when I clicked on that page. Yeah.
Very good.
So, and girls standing wise in the South, we have, as you said, Columbus is 10-1. They're still leading the conference. But Waco, after winning now 8 straight, in fact, Brenna Graber was got the interview last night, and she said, we've won a lot of games in a row. I don't even know how many it was. She lost count. It was so much. It's 8. Waco 8-2, Lone Tree 8-3. So Waco's a game and a half behind Columbus. So as far as your magic number, watch Columbus. The big game coming up because Columbus has just beaten Lone Tree twice. The big game is Columbus and Waco. Of course, Highland is right there at 5-4, Pekin 5-6, Hillcrest 3-7, and then down at the bottom there, after a few other of our non-union area teams, Winfield-Mount Union is sitting at 1-9 in the South. We know that New London and Van Buren County play in a tough South. Mediapolis 9-0 to lead the South. Van Buren County is down there, tied for 4th. Sorry. They're alone in 5th at 4-5, and New London 0-8. Now let's jump over to the South Iowa Cedar League. Drum roll, please. Oh man, varsity bound or whatever. I'm like, oh, I've got my fingers out, my clickers out. I'm like, I'm gonna go boom, 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 and it's like, no, slow down. You're working on our time. South Iowa Cedar League East. Keota's 3-7. Which is a few games out. Sigourney's leading that with a 6-3 record. Let's go ahead and jump into the River Valley South, where Mid Prairie is 4-1 in the conference. Regina is currently 6-0, and Tipton is 4-1. So that's a 3-way race there in the River Valley. And how about we look at the South Central Conference, where the Cardinal Comets are 0-6. Have not gotten a win in conference or out of conference. And that top of the conference is stacked. Eddyville, Blakesburg, Fremont, 7-0. They're 13-0 all year. And Albee is 6-1 and 9-1 overall. So those two teams are like potential state teams. So only gets harder on the schedule there. Hunter, how about the boys scoreboard?
Yeah, we're running into the boys real quick. As I mentioned already, a couple games you've mentioned already. Van Buren County 67-61 over New London. Hillcrest Academy 70-33 over Columbus. Waco loss is huge for Hillcrest Academy because that was Hillcrest Academy's only Southeast Iowa Super Conference North loss on the season thus far. Actually, their only loss on the season thus far overall. Pekin 52-44 over Waco. Winfield-Mount Union 56-52 over Lone Tree in overtime. Keota 71-61 over North Mahaska, a ranked North Mahaska team at that. Keota looking really good. And then Regina Catholic 62-51 over Mid Prairie. Shout out Regina Catholic with old Paul Runquist at the helm there.
Mr. Paul Runquist, state champion at Mount Pleasant High School.
Yep.
Was that all the scores? Sorry, I was.
Yeah, that's all the scores.
All right, I'll go backwards here. I'm gonna start with conference standings and small school basketball. South Central Conference, Cardinals sitting at 1-5. That is 4 games behind undefeated Knoxville for first place. You mentioned Keota in the South Iowa Cedar East. They are in control right now. They're 9-1 in conference. Big win over North Pasco, which is not a South Iowa Cedar League East team. But Sigourney and Iowa Valley are both 5-4. So Keota's got a little bit of a stranglehold on that one. In the Super South, New London is at the bottom of that one at 0-9. Van Buren County is 7th at 3-7. Leading that one is West Burlington. The Super North, which has been one of the crazy ones this year. Now Hillcrest Academy with their 9-1 record are in first place. Waco tied in the loss column, but Waco 8-1. They are one game back there of one half game back of Hillcrest. Winfield-Mount Union is 8-2. They are only one full game back of first place. And Pekin 7-3. They 2 games back of first place. So those 4 teams are totally in it. Down the list a little bit is Columbus at 3-7, Highland at 1-8. And the only one I haven't said is the River Valley South, where Mid Prairie is second place at 4-1, tied with Tipton, behind Regina, who is 6-0. That sounds familiar. Is that the exact same situation as the girls?
Yes.
Yes, that is interesting.
Mid Prairie's only loss on the season has been Regina Catholic in both.
It's tough.
Regina Catholic is ranked. The boys might not. I think the boys were ranked or might still be ranked. The girls are definitely top 5, but
I'll tell you a secret about Regina Catholic. Mid Prairie does not like them.
I found out something interesting the other day about Regina Catholic.
Ooh?
Yeah, I was talking to, Mike Macbeth, don't you?
Sure do.
I was talking to Mike Macbeth, and he was talking about New London playing Regina Catholic. He's like, yeah, Regina Catholic has this kid that linebacker that's getting looked at by he's got interest from Georgia and like Minnesota and like all these schools. And when I was at state basketball last year, I was sitting there and Regina Catholic came in, and I was talking to Runk, was just like, because I've talked to him like a long time ago, but no way he remembered because it's so long ago. But I was sitting there, and their team sat down. And I started talking to one of their players, freshman at the time, name's Tate Wallace. Turns out this is the kid that is like getting looked at, like, interest from Georgia. And I didn't even realize at the time that I was talking to him, and Mike Macbeth was telling me, I was like, oh, no crap. I was like, I didn't even realize at the time that he was like that good.
Like, now you guys are best friends. So
I know. We're cool.
Yeah, that's right.
Dude, Mike Macbeth was telling me this funny story. When during the game, he said that kid, the Wallace kid, was running after a loose ball was going out of bounds. And I kind of jumped out of the way. And he said he went up to him after the game, and he goes, yeah, hey, thanks for not running into me over there. I had to get out of the way. I didn't want you, hitting me, because he's like 6'2", pretty built. And I guess the Wallace kid looked at him. He's like, probably a good idea, sir.
Probably a good idea. Hey,
he's got some confidence.
Before we go to this next commercial, you just reminded me of one more story. Speaking of the sidelines, shout out to the guy at Van Buren County. He was squeezing his empty water bottle. The cap flew off from the top of the bleachers and like kind of hit my coat and rolled by me. And I scooped it up and I looked at him. So like, cause he obviously didn't mean to do that. And he just like looked off into the distance like it wasn't him, even though he was holding a water bottle. And I forgot to approach him after the game. I was going to give him crap for that. But anyway, that's it for this block of Southeast Iowa Union's Prep Sports Plus. When we get back, just going to go through the schedule for tomorrow and get you on your way. We'll be back.
Yes, sir.
Attention Hy-Vee shoppers, introducing Hy-Vee Perks, your ticket to exclusive savings and rewards. Access exclusive perks, prices, earn gas discounts, and unlock special deals. All this for free. Join Hy-Vee Perks today and start saving.
At Seafirst Credit Union, we're all about making connections. like how we connect you with a flexible financing you need to install that all-season room or remodel your kitchen with a home equity line of credit. Connect with C-First today and see why together is better.
Bring the kids, share the memories, celebrate 75 years of traditions at the Midwest Old Threshers Reunion. Relive the magic of steam engines, antique cars, and trucks, tractors, gas engines, and horses. Whether it's your first visit or a cherished tradition, you'll enjoy the delicious foods, the thrill of an Old West shootout, and the excitement of nightly grandstand entertainment. For 75 years, this has been the place where memories are made at the 2025 Midwest Old Threshers Reunion, August 28th through September 1st in Mount Pleasant, Iowa. Visit oldthreshers.com for more details.
In the heart of rural Iowa, where community matters most, the connections we make are made to last. Meet KCTC, your hometown internet, phone, and TV provider. At KCTC, we're not just about technology, we're about people. Our dedicated team are your neighbors, committed to bringing you top-tier services right where you live. We believe in giving back to the community that raised us. Experience the power of a real connection with KCTC. Join us in building a stronger, more connected Southeast Iowa.
Southeast Iowa Union Prep Sports Plus, powered by Fairway Food Stores. Hunter, give me the weekend wrestling scores.
Yeah. Let's do some girls action first. A lot of the same teams, a lot of our teams at the same tournaments here. Cardinal, Fairfield, and Washington all were at the North Mahaska Invitational. Cardinal topped all 10 schools with 130 points for the team title. Fairfield 5th with 80 points. Washington 8th, 46.5 points. Scroll down here. Mid-Prairie leads the area teams with a second place finish at the Highland tournament. 21 schools, this one's a big one. So Mid-Prairie, Pekin, Van Buren County, Mount Pleasant, Columbus, Highland, Waco, all there. As I mentioned, Mid-Prairie led the way. Second overall finish, 160.5 points. Pekin 9th with 79 points. Van Buren County 11th, 46 points. Mount Pleasant 13th. Columbus 17th. Highland 20th. Waco 21st in that one. Then Sigourney Kyoto 8th at the Trojan Tangle, hosted by West Marshall on Saturday. As I mentioned, they finished 8th, 71 points for them there. It's all from the girls. Running to the boys really quick here. 5 Union area teams were at the Ottumwa Invitational, another big tournament. Fairfield, Columbus, WMU, Sigourney Kyoto, Van Buren County, Cardinal were all there. Trojans were the highest placing team, finished 6th with 362.5 points. 2-day tournament, that's why the score is so high there. Columbus, WMU, 11th. Sigourney Kyoto, 16th. Van Buren County, 21st. Cardinal, 23rd. There. And then Mount Pleasant led the way of the area teams that were at the Gary Curtis Invitational on Saturday. Mount Pleasant, Waco, Mid-Prairie, New London, Highland, all there. This was Highland's tournament, I think. Mount Pleasant with an 8th place finish, 90.5 points. Waco with 10th and 10th. Mid-Prairie 11th, New London 12th, and then host Highland 13th in that one. And finally, or actually not finally, almost finally, Washington finishes 12th. The Bobcat Jerry Second Rod Invitational. As a team, the Demons finished 12th out of the 17 teams with 45 points. And then finally, Pekin places 12th at the North Mahaska meet. So that's all from the weekend, the area weekend wrestling.
North Mahaska fans that have been watching this show for years and years never hear your school. Shout out to that. We're jumping back into SEC wrestling on Thursday, which is tonight if you're watching this on Thursday. Fairfield is hosting a triangular with Fort Mass and Ottumwa. Mount Pleasant at Washington in the SEC action. And if you can't make it, Southeast Iowa Live, tune in. You know what? Even if you can make it, don't tell the boss, but they're really trying to get these streaming games kicked off. They got a good team working on it. Just go ahead and throw it on your phone. You know?
Do it. A lot of views last time. It was like 2,000 just through the night.
Wow. The basketball games have been great numbers, great numbies. But I might bring my I have wireless headphones. Maybe I'll bring it and listen to the call tomorrow because I'll be there. Bowling wise, quick updates because Mount Pleasant and Washington went at it on last Thursday, I believe. as the end of last week. Washington boys get past Mount Pleasant 25-55 to 24-34. SEC bowling, boys bowling had some pretty tight games in that one. Washington girls are shorthanded, but Mount Pleasant was able to beat them 22-25 to 885. And then Fairfield on the other end, on the boys' side, they had beaten Davis County on Monday, 27-39 to 25-08. That was a non-conference game. They're 5-0 overall, boys bowling for Fairfield, and 2-0 to lead the conference. Girls-wise, they went against Davis County. They had lost them previously. Don't have the finals on that, but Fairfield girls are sitting at 1-1 in the conference right now. Mount Pleasant 4-1 in the conference in girls. They are in second place. Keokuk 2-0. It's a little wonky because not everyone else has played against each other. And on the boys' standings, Fairfield is tied for first with Keokuk at 2-0. So we got a couple of chances there in a conference bowling. And in other bowling, I lost my wife by 2 pins the other night. I had a family bowling night for New Year's.
That's funny.
It hurt bad. But you know what's going to hurt even worse?
Saying goodbye to
the hearts of our
today.
feelers. Yeah, saying bye to our people. For Hunter Muller, producer Peter, and myself, and the entire Southeast Iowa Union family. We will see you
next week. Peace. Come say hi to us at the games. Come chat it.